And while it is important to remember that the vast majority of parents are making sure that their children get vaccinated on time, the voices of those who don't carry. Any internet search about vaccines will quickly lead you down a frightening rabbit hole, and the background hum of doubt can make some parents understandably nervous.
I'm concerned about how many vaccines we have to give our children at once.
So I'm kind of debating whether I will do them, but I'm debating the age. When should I have them done?
There's just so much information there, and I don't know who to ask. I don't know if there's no such thing as an unbiased source.
At least 10% of parents delay or skip some shots. Around 1% don't vaccinate at all.
Right, and parents get so much information, it is hard to know what to do. Should you vaccinate? Should you eat the placenta? Should you let kids cry? And the answers to those, by the way, are yes, no, and absolutely, because the more they cry now, the more they'll be prepared to watch This Is Us when they get older. And this atmosphere of confusion about vaccines has caused real problems. There are now 11 states where the number of unvaccinated kids is on the rise. And in small pockets all over America, the numbers can get startlingly high. In the Somali community in Minnesota, the measles vaccination rate for children dropped to just 42%. And that had some very real consequences.
Measles, once eradicated in the U.S., is now exploding in Minnesota's Somali community, where many parents won't vaccinate.
The virus is so contagious that if you're exposed to it and you don't have the vaccine, there's a 90% chance you'll contract it.
They can have permanent brain damage. They can have blindness or deafness. And so we wouldn't vaccinate if this was just a rashy illness. This is a very serious disease.
Exactly, and this is how bad it is. In that community, the number of measles cases so far this year has already outpaced the total number in all the US last year. And that is terrible, because the only thing Minnesota should have more of than any other state is Garrison's Keeler and people disappointed by the Mall of America. Now, the good news is, these days, very few people will say they are completely anti-vaccine. Instead, like the president, they'll say, I'm not anti-vaccine, but. And it's what comes after that but that we need to look at tonight. Because one example is, hey, I'm not anti-vaccine, but I am pro-safe vaccine. And that can often refer to concern over scary-sounding ingredients like thimerosal, a mercury-based preservative. For years now, RFK Jr. has led a crusade against it. In fact, just this year, he gave a speech where he said this.
For 33 years, I've been working to get mercury out of fish. Nobody has ever called me anti-fish. And because I want mercury out of vaccines, I should not be called anti-vaccine.
Okay. More importantly, in fact, much more importantly, it is worth knowing that the mercury that has been used in vaccines is not the same kind that is harmful in fish. On top of which, as with the MMR vaccine, there have been multiple large studies finding no link between thimerosal and autism. And perhaps most importantly of all, since the early 2000s, as a precautionary measure, it has been removed as a preservative from all vaccines recommended for infants except for the flu vaccines. And even there, thimerosal-free versions are available. So we essentially spent time and energy solving a problem that never existed. It's like thinking, well, hold on. If it wasn't harmful, why was it taken out? Well, there was intense public concern that was amplified by people like then-Congressman Dan Burton making arguments like this.
I have not yet to find any scientist who will say that there's no doubt that the mercury in vaccines does not contribute to autism. Now, they'll say there's no scientific evidence, there's no studies or anything that proves that yet. But turn that around. There are no studies that disprove it either.